Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Hooked on Family's 5-Minute Friday. I'm Captain Scott Brown, and today we'll be joined by my good friend Tommy Dimattina, professional photographer of Fins and Fly Creative. We're going to discuss how you guys can get out on the water and be better photographers. Tommy, thanks for coming down, man. I really appreciate it. We had a pretty tough day on the water, but we made it happen. Awesome having a professional photographer out on the boat with me. With that being said, though, the average dad taking his son fishing doesn't have a pro photographer on board, you know? And these people still want to capture these genuine moments. So if you had any tips to give that family fisherman how to take better pictures while out on the water, what would you tell them?
Everybody's got a phone. Phones nowadays are great. You don't need to go buy expensive cameras. If you want one, great. That's really for us because we sell our work. But the phones today are awesome, man. We can just tell everybody a few tips, clean up the photographs, keep the the horizontal lines even and all that stuff, just to give your picture that professional look.
I look at some of my friends' pictures, on social media, and I'm just like, man. It's like, what kind of DSLR do you have? And it's like I took that with my iPhone. My mind is like blown, What are some things that you should think about first and foremost, before taking those pictures?
First and foremost, when y'all are handling fish for photography or video or whatever, that fish's safety is the utmost importance. Like, we need to make sure we're handling the fish. You want to keep them wet if you can. Try and wet your hands before handling them. Don't hold them over the boat. If you have a landing net, that's a super plus. You can bring them in, you don't have to lift them. And then you can leave that net in the water. That way, if you're holding the fish over the water, your kid drops the fish, it's still there safely in the net.
What I like to do with my kid is I like to get him in the water, increase his water confidence while we're taking those pictures. I don't have to worry about the fish, I've got my kid with me, and there's not as much stress involved.
If you're holding the fish out for the camera, I see a lot of people holding the hand on top of the back, which doesn't make for a good photo.
Yeah,
so
you're covering the entire fish.
If you can support the belly of the fish, that's a big thing, is supporting the weight of the fish. And if you can grab the underside of that tail, it just makes for a better picture. Don't have your hands all the way up and you're on the side of the fish. Just support the belly and hold it like this, and that's one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always mentoring and coaching great, and I'm like, hey, whenever you got your hand up near his gills, don't stick your fingers in his gills, get it a little further back, because kids don't understand that's how a fish breathes. They don't understand life and death, and they're so stoked, they're in the moment. You gotta be there also in the moment to help coach them.
Horizon lines you touched on, that's like the one thing that you can do that will make it just instantly improves the picture. So before we can change these things in Instagram, you can tilt the picture to fix that. But if you don't frame the picture right and you go to tilt that, you've cut someone's head off. So if you can check, just make sure that one thing is right in the photo. Just take 1 second, look at that line, just make sure it's straight. That's easy. Lighting sometimes is not as easy. It depends on where the sun is, if the boat's turning. Ideally, you want that sun to be coming at you from an angle, not behind you, so you're all shadowed out. Again, that's something we can fix in Instagram. And then you don't want it blasting right on you, because you're just, everything is blown out. These bonefish have pretty scales. The tarpon have pretty scales. The permit have awesome.
Yeah, it's just total reflection right back at you. And if that light is not almost perfect, you're not going to get that good quality picture. But ultimately, if there's anything else that you would have to put out there, what would it be?
And I think that's, as far as the tips, just quick tips for the photography, that's the ones that if you can do those right now, you will see a change in your pictures just instantly. Those are the couple things that we like to see, and it's just going to give your photo that more professional look that the horizon line's straight, the lighting's good, your hands are in the right place. It's just one way to make your photos, because these phones, like you said, they're great. So if you can just touch up on those couple things, I mean, you're gonna have a great looking photo. You don't need extra equipment on board when you got the kids. It's one less thing to mess with. Just pull your phone out, wipe your lens, wipe your phone lens.
You know, that totally didn't even occur to me, you know? And I'm so guilty, especially when I'm filming with my GoPro. I'm so guilty of not looking down and checking it, you know? And then I get back home and I'm like, oh man, dude, I got that tarpon jumping out of the water. I get back, it's all smudged, totally disgusting. I'm like, well, can't use any of that.
There goes that.
Yeah, no, there goes that. Well, you know what, man? I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming down here, man, and sharing that knowledge. You know, it's not every day that you get to come across a professional photographer and has the quality pictures like yourself, you know? So thanks for coming down here. Thanks for giving those tips, you know? And then hopefully we get back out of the water and be a little more successful. I don't know. It was a little cloudy, but I think we'll make it happen, man. Hey, appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Hooked on Family's 5-Minute Friday. Hopefully you guys can utilize Tommy's tips and go out there on the water with your family and take better pictures. If you guys want to learn more information or follow Tommy on Instagram, you can find him at Boston Inc. or at Fins and Fly Creative. Make sure if you guys want to talk about anything specific, you drop it in the comments below. Anyways, stay tuned for next week's episode. Thanks for tuning in.